to Hades, the reformer of hooker whores, and the bronze god, the one, the only, the legendary Chris Bay.
Good afternoon to the good people. Good afternoon to the bad people, friends and enemies. And good afternoon, boom shakalaka to you all. I am Chris Base. BaseLine right here in full effect. We congregate every, and I do mean every Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central, and 2 p.m. West Coast time. Always wanting you to be well where you are. Now, before we get started, there's a couple of things I got to do here in-house, so please forgive me. Please forgive me. I got to take care of this real quick before we move on with the program here. So let me do this real quick, scan mementos, and then we can start the program. So let me see. Let me get that in here. That. And then, okay. Okay, that should do it. All right. I'm trying to do some last minute stuff here from a tech perspective. So get everything all, make sure all the T's are crossed and I's dotted as we start the program here. Let's see as we go to the peanut gallery in the comment section. How you doing, Barbara Jean? Yes, happy Friday to you too. You see her on Facebook Live and also on the Chris Base channel, all one word with a period at the end of the channel right there. She is on boat. Not both, but boat. Also on the Chris Base channel with a period at the end. Of course, Sick Diggy, good afternoon, good morning. I mean, afternoon, good afternoon, good evening. And let's do it again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to one Sick Diggy. Let's see if we go. Hello, Omar. How you doing, Omar? Say hello, Chris. Happy Friday to you. And of course, saying hello to Barbara Jean. Excuse me, everybody saying the festivities there in the comment section amongst themselves. Oh man, busy week. We'll get into it in a little bit. Of course, it's Free Your Mind Friday. That's why we are here. And so you can do the same, not just me doing these topics. You can participate in the topics or come up with something on your own. It's a novel idea. That's why it's called Free Your Mind. So, of course, you have various ways to do it. There are no excuses. 312-597-2106. Again, 312-597-2106 to call in. Of course, the YouTube channel just mentioned the Chris Base channel, all one word with a period at the end of channel. Make sure you like and subscribe and share. Make sure you do that. As I know that, of course, Barbara Jean and one Sick Digger doing just that. And, of course, the rest of you as well. Catch the program also on Facebook Live. Talk about that. Instagram, I am the base. And if you are so bold, and it's not just for Sick when he does it, only one other person has done that in the past few weeks outside of Sick Diggy, and that's been my man Wise. Of course, this program is simulcasted on Real Wise Radio on the internet. And also thank the brother, as always, for allowing this talk excursion to be continued, as some people may take a listen to it, and some people just may throw their device out the window when they hear it. You never know who's listening. Let's see. How you doing, Ellie says, hey, Chris, how you doing? Back to you. How's everything? How's your family? I've also shared to X, Barbara Jean. All right, there you go. Formerly known as Twitter. Thank you, Barbara Jean. I had a Twitter account, but I never used Twitter when it was formerly Twitter. I don't use X either, so I might have to start getting back into that just to be on a social media presence. Hell, I remember when I got on when it was back in the day when they had AOL. I don't know if anybody still uses AOL, if it's even in existence. AOL.com. I liked AOL. That's pretty cool when I got on there. I was Chris Base at AOL.com back in the day. It was actually pretty nice. I liked it. Of course, some people still use Yahoo. I stopped using that and then went to Gmail like most people and started using that. So that happens to work. Let's see. Go back to the comment section here. What do you see here? I saw a bear across the street from what's it? I'm sorry, I can't read. I get new glasses. From Brother House in Georgia, we got trees across the street, but the bear got away. Bears, lions and tigers and bears. Oh my! Barbara, I haven't used AOL in decades. Yeah, same here. I'll just be pontificating about all the emails I've used over the years and social media stuff. But yeah, AOL. Like I said before, I mean, some of these things just drop over because one becomes more popular than the other one, or you still may use it. Like I said before, I think my sister still uses Yahoo. I don't even know if she has a Gmail account. But I know she uses Yahoo. Hey, what's up, Jed? MySpace was a personal fave. Internets went downhill. Greetings, Base Nation. Thank you, Jed. Yeah, I liked MySpace too. As a matter of fact, MySpace was pretty cool. But you just meet people who are assholes. I remember, again, I'm on MySpace, and of course, you network and things like that. That's if you want to network, depending on if you want to get a hookup or whatever. That's what people do. So I'm on MySpace, and I've always been approached about being on people's internet stations. The one I'm currently on right now, Wise is a different brother, so I love him. But before I met Wise, older than me years ago, MySpace was on, and I was approached to could I be a part of a talk show lineup that this guy was creating. I said, let me think about it for a little bit. Give me about 48 hours. I'll think about it. Now, after, I swear to God, after we got off the phone, a few minutes later, the same gentleman I talked to on the phone puts my likeness on his MySpace page saying that I'm a part of his radio station, but I was not. We didn't even talk about a contract or how we're going to pay or something like that. Nothing like that. I didn't even say yes to it. I told the brother, give me 48 hours and I'll get back to you. But no, I'm just going to put it up there without my permission. I had to call him back. I said, bro, what's up with all that? Oh, I thought you'd be a part of the radio station. No, I said, give me 40 hours to decide. That's 2 days if we don't know. Give me 48 hours and I'll get back with you. But we'll lighten this up there. And I had to tell him, cease and desist. So I had to call my attorney. So we can't have that. So he dropped it. But if somebody just jumped the gun, it's not that serious. Either a person signs on or not. Yeah, Barbara Jr. the laughing emojis. It's true. It's just you try to work with people. I mean, God knows I have over the years, but it's just that type of jumping the gun makes me nervous. So, needless to say, I told him to cease and desist, and he dropped it, and I never heard from him again. A little bit too much for me. A little bit too much. Talk about jumping the gun, stick types. Absolutely. I mean, you lost what's left of your damn mind. I didn't even say anything. I didn't say yes or no to the brother. What are all types of blue hell type sick? Man, I could tell some stories. I really could. And it sometimes it sometimes gets in the way of my faith in humanity. And I must attract stupid ass people. I come to the conclusion that something's wrong with my DNA or something like that. I must have remember He-Man, I have the power. I have the power to attract assholes. Something like that. Something just not right. This happened for a while. I told my wife when she was alive, I said, Vic, I'm gonna have to stay in the house. No, it does make you think. Look, Okay, I'll share the story with you. So when I was back at WLS AM, I used to work at one point Saturday afternoon, like morning or afternoon. And then I would go across the street to Governor's Pub, have me a beer or whatever, and then take the bus home. Depending on how I felt, but that was usually my routine on Saturday afternoons. It was just, you light, the weekend start and everything else. And I get off to work about, I don't know, so I think I started at 6 or something like that sometimes, or depending on the schedule. And I get off right 1, maybe 2 o'clock. Once again, cross street beer, jump on the 6 Jeffrey Express, and go home back to the south side from downtown Chicago. So when you get on the bus there, the bus is just starting its route, so you have everywhere to sit at. And there was this dude, and I used the word dude specifically, so he was a dude. It was a white guy, had on, let's see, denim jeans, jacket, uh, jeans, and cowboy boots. So we were talking, and he was talking about he was a stranger in town, and he loved Chicago, and I don't know, he's from Nebraska, something. I don't know where he was. But he was telling me about he loves Chicago nightlife and everything else. Now, mind you, when I got on the State and Lake, the bus is just now getting its passengers because it starts the route going south. Now, people coming on the bus, mind you, and we're still talking and everything else. And he's like, "Yeah, you guys got good nightlife here. What's that street? I think it begins with an R. I was down there all night long, partying with these people. Tavern on, Tavern on Rush Street. Yeah, that was it. Oh my God, I went to a couple places after that. You guys got great nightlife here." I said, "Well, it is great nightlife. I hope you continue to enjoy yourself. How long you gonna be in town?" "I'll be in town about a good week." "All right, okay, great. Hey man, let's you and I have sex." Let me say this before I make my statement. I'm not anti the LGBTQ plus community. I'm not. But I'm not homosexual. I'm not. I'm heterosexual. Now, he didn't know that, but just the fact he came out and said that, and to be completely transparent with you, he didn't say sex. He said F. He said what? Let's do that. Mind you, there's people on the bus now, and I I said, dude, first of all, I don't swing like that, and if I were you, I wouldn't say it to anybody else because you just might get your ass handed to you, or maybe you like stuff like that. I don't know, but I wouldn't say to anybody else because you might get killed, not killed, but killed. So, needless to say, I got home. I saved some money up, and I had it in my bedroom, and I went immediately to the stairs about 7:50, something like that, 7:50, I believe. And my wife Vic was like, "What are you getting this for?" "We're getting a used car right now. I'm not taking the bus or public transportation ever again. We're getting let's go and get us a used car right now. Not now, but right now." And we did. We got a used car that day. I wasn't bullshit. I was hot. I'm not gonna go through that shit again. And I forgot what used car we got, but whatever it was great. It was the best car I had in my life after that ordeal. God would attract crazy people. Another story, real quick. Went with the family. The family, we all went to the shopping mall. There was a shopping mall. It's not as much as it used to be. It was called River Oaks. It still is in existence, but River Oaks Mall. And I'm sitting there while Vic and the kids are getting something. And I'm sitting on the bench. And this lady comes over to me and she sits down next to me. Now, mind you, there's like 12,000 benches. Sitting next to me, not close, but on the same bench. Said hello. I said hello back, trying to be cordial and friendly. And across from us was the store where my wife and kids were shopping at, and we're looking inside. And she leans over. you see that guy over there with the t-shirt on is blue with the black jeans on? I'm looking over there, yeah. I'm going to kill him. Now, why are you telling me this? I don't bother people. I don't fuck with people. You know what I'm saying? I'm there with my family. That's it. We're going to shop, go get something to eat, go home. Maybe go to the movies. I mind my own. I was sitting on the bench minding my own. My own? Yeah, I was minding my own. And this lady leaves in. I'm going to kill him. I said, well, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry for him. No, you don't understand. He's cheating on me with that bitch right there. And the bitch she was referring to was a lady across across the counter who worked at this particular place. So she was like, I'm going to kill him. Then that bitch is next. I said, well, she has to be a good looking woman. What you trying to say? I ain't trying to say shit. I'm just saying that she's a good looking woman, and why you take out your man like that? Oh, I got some ideas. I said, excuse me. And I went into the store, standing behind Vic. Hey, we gotta get the fuck out of here right now. We'll get the stuff for the kids in another store. We gotta get the fuck out of here right now. And we got the fuck out of there. We did. I'm telling you, I don't bother people. I do not. So I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of rough. Let's see. Let me get back to the conversation here. I remember the first time I heard you on talk was Cool Out Radio. I was thinking it was wrong with what was wrong with the radio, and I heard you. I decided to listen to Cool Out Radio and been a fan of yours ever since. Well, thank you, Omar. I think appreciate that. That was fun. That was fun for me working with. I call him KO as a nickname for Cool Out. KO was the one that brought me into the fold when it was the original four. I call it. The original four was Cool Out, Brian the Wildcat Smith. Oh my God, just don't get old. Tina Hernandez and myself. And so we were original four, and then it branched out into other castmates during the years. And it was a nice time to work with various people. One of the best producers I ever worked with, Lisa Marie Stewart. And she was the glue to our program, and she was and still is one of the best people I ever got a chance to encounter. One of my closest and dearest friends over time. And that whole experience was fun. Being on Sunday nights, I think the main time I think we shifted a couple of times. I think the main time we were on from was 11 p.m. 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. And on Chicago radio during that time, there wasn't that much live programming outside of 24-hour news, sports stations, WGN. I mean, that was pretty much it. Not from the standpoint of talk was concerned. Music, yes. I mean, we know that. But as far as talk was concerned at the time, wasn't that much programming. So, for what it was worth, it was a lot of fun. It really was. So, thank you, Omar, for that, bringing back memories of working with Cool Out Radio. So, that was a couple of times. So, I was there for maybe 3 to 4 years, and I got burnt out, and I got tired a little bit. So, I figured I'd remove myself from the show. I had some other things I wanted to try out. And it was funny because I met Suzette Wright. And Suzette was on the show. And Suzette is another person who is dynamic in her own right. And I realized that the cool thing about bringing people together was the fact that everybody individually was strong, and we were stronger as a team. Kind of like when you see like the Avengers and stuff like that, and Justice League. You know, we watch these movies and animation. It kind of feels like that. It kind of feels like everybody individually is great, but as a team, we're greater. And so I felt that working with Cool Out. And again, it was just a lot of fun. And with Suzette, there's not too many people I would meet, especially in radio, where you click it off immediately. You just have a banter back and forth, you have a chemistry back and forth that's not rehearsed. That's natural, it's organic. And we had that. Had Suzette been there in the timeline earlier, I probably would stay another couple of years because of her. Because, like I said before, it was not like I was not feeling everybody else because I did. Everybody else was my teammates, but it was just time to move on. Sometimes you have to know when you're, what I call in your spirit, when it's time to move on. Some people stay too long, or they can stay. I think Cool I would have been okay with it had I stayed, but it was just time for me to move on. But when you meet someone and you have that instant chemistry, yeah, it's nice. So let's see. See what else. Cool out. Is still cool. Yes, he is. Barbara Jean. Yes, he is. Tina was great. Tina was dynamic. The thing about Tina was that, like Cool Out said, she didn't have. Well, really, she didn't have any radio experience. The only radio people that were on the show at that time was the four of us. Was Cool Out and myself. Tina Hernandez, I think he just met her obviously along the way in years. Brian the Wildcat Smith was a comedian, still is a comedian. He's living in LA now. And we had to get a chance to know each other and to feed off each other enemies, not enemies of energy. And when we had the only thing that I disagree with the show was because we were on live and because people wanted to call in, Cool did not take any phone calls. He probably had calls from guests that were calling in, mind you, but not callers calling in. I love that. That's cool. I mean, that's cool. And I remember we had a caller call in and we were talking about relationships of different races, which still right to this day is like very taboo because you see a black man dating a white woman, all of a sudden you're playing in the snow bunnies and stuff like that. It doesn't apply to every relationship, not at all. But it's the stigma of that. So we were talking about that, and the guy on the phone was talking about how black women are ignorant, how they neck roll too much and everything else. And I was going to check him. And Cool Out had stopped the call and went to commercial break. And I looked at him like he sideways, dude, why'd you do that for? Well, I didn't want any confrontation. Well, sometimes confrontation is good. We talk about talk radio here. It's his show. His name's on the marquee. I get it, but that could have been a great opportunity to showcase what we do here. Now, mind you, his philosophy maybe got different from mine. The other role I had on the show was creative consultant. Because of my experience being in talk radio, I had the cachet and the experience in it. Cool Out would lean on me for some tips and advice and everything else. Every night after the show, him and I would dissect the show and see what we can make better with it or some observations. But if it was up to me, I would prefer phone calls. I think that broadens the show in the first place. And when you do like a quote unquote magazine show, a magazine shows what you hear on the radio that has information, obviously, but no interaction with the audience. Let's see. You still have the recordings of Cool Out Radio. No, I don't. I did not. That all belongs to the property of Cool Out. Barbara Jean, y'all played great together. I think we did. It was like I said before. It was. I always give KO credit because KO was the one that taught me how to play well with others. I was always a lone wolf since I started going into talk radio and going into social media. Always been solo host, but it was him that got me along. That got me to go along with having teams and things like that. It was really nice. It was really nice for what it was worth. Cool Out, aka Giant Stars, was always open to feedback. Yeah, he was. He definitely was. I guess again, like anything else, you you have different ideas for the show, and of course, it's his show. We just, of course, the co-host, but it's his baby, and he's having to share it with us. But I think because of the time we were on, we took advantage of it and have caller interaction. But that was just me. Let's see. Johnny transitioned from a music format to talk show host. No, you're right. Uh, Johnny worked at WGCI FM and was released from his position there. And when I met Cool Out, he was my board op at WVON. So when I did Baseline, midnight to 2 a.m. going to early Monday morning, he was my board man. And I knew exactly who he was because I read, Robert Feeder was the TV and radio columnist for the Chicago Sun-Times. And so I always knew of him and just never met him until we got a chance to meet. He was my board man for Baseline on WVON. Then I was let go from WVON. And so he, meaning Cool Out, said, "Can you do me a favor? I'm doing an audition for Melody Span Cooper, the president general manager at WVON, doing an audition tape. And I want you to sit in on it and get your take on it." All right, cool. So we do the audition, and it was 15 people in that studio. 15, mind you. Mostly women. We're doing the show. It's kind of like off the seat of your pants type of thing. No structure. And after the show, the recording said, "What do you think?" I said, "You want my honest opinion? Want me to lie to you?" "I want your honest opinion." "Okay, you got too many goddamn people in the studio. It's 15 and it's funky as fuck. So first of all, you need to break it down to 3 voices, no more than 4, because the 15 is just noise pollution. And I just think it's not going to work. If you have 15 people in the studio, everybody ganged up on the microphones, things like that, just it's not going to bode well. And I don't think it will work. So eventually, he took my advice on that, and it knocked down to 4 people. And then he asked me why be part of the 4. I said, "Well, look, brother, I appreciate it. I'm glad you got the opportunity to do the show, but Melody hates my guts. She would not let me in the front door WVO, let alone the back door, or anybody that looked like me to come in through those hallowed halls. So if you get her to convince that I can still walk in the building and do your show, I'll do it." I don't know what he did. I don't know how he did it, but I became a part of that show thanks to him. I don't know how he did. I still don't know how he did it. I swear to God. As Bernie Mac once said, "I swear for God." Let's see. I still remember your daughter being in the studio during a broadcast. Yeah, I mean, again, it was cool because, and I can't use the word cool, not because of cool out, because that's what I use. This is when the studios were on 87th Street, and I didn't live that far. I mean, you get in the car, it's like 5 minutes away, no more than 7. And you get in the car, or Cool Out sometimes will come by and pick me up, and we'll go to the studio, something like that. And yeah, it was just convenient. It was great to have WVON studios in the neighborhood. It was right by the viaduct there. Man, it was, I liked it. I thought it was beautiful. So now they moved downtown in the South Loop area, but yeah, back then it was very convenient. I remember I sometimes miss a Wildcat scratching my yeah, yeah, that was his line. We were first all getting to know each other. Wildcat called me Republican. He called me conservative. I said, "Dude, I know you don't know me. I know you don't know me at all to make a comment like that." So along the way, eventually he realized I was not conservative. He realized I was not Republican. And so there you go. But it's just, it's kind of like growing pains or just trying to get to know people. I first met Cool Out during a voter registration drive at Truman College. Oh yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Barbara Jean type. I asked him what his real name was that day. He still refused to disclose his age. You know what? Yeah, he's Peter goddamn Pan when it comes to that. I'm like, dude, it's not that big of a deal. Okay, so his take, if I remember correctly, if memory serves me right, his take was if he revealed his age, that the public or people that know him in the industry, that he would age out of stuff. Well, first of all, we all know by now that these people who are in media lie about their age all the time. We see these bios or actors. I mean, everybody's acting. I can't say actors, but everybody is in the acting or field, whatever, or even not. People just lie about their age. Hello, my name is Chris Bass, and I'm 37 years old. Chris Bass, Live Witness News. Not Eyewitness, Live Witness News. I'm not fucking 37. I'm 5'8". I'm 58. But that's me, though. But with Cool Out, he had this thing about his age. His birthday's coming up next couple of weeks. He's a Virgo, too. I'm a Virgo, and so is KO. But this age thing, sorry, Mike. I forgot all about that, Barbara Jean. Thank you. What do you say? He probably flashed that smile. That age stuff, man, that was just goddamn ridiculous. Hey, Diane Hawkins, how you doing? Diane, of course, a great friend of the show. She is the official pickleball champion of BaseLine. How you doing? Thank you for being here. I've been inside the Kesley location and on 87th Street too, Barbara Jean Tice. The original one was on Kesley, you're right, and then the 87th Street one, that was my personal favorite. It really was. What you got there? Oh, you're welcome, Barbara Jean. Yeah. That's a piss poor excuse, right, Barbara? You're right. I don't like I said before. It made no sense to me at the time, and it still doesn't. So what can you say? And you try, of course, to understand what they're going through, but no dice. I can't buy into the age thing, so no. All right, the man suspected of finally shooting Charlie Kirk is being held without bail in a Utah County jail on the orders of a state judge. According to the court records obtained by CNN, Judge Sean Rice Howell signed an order to hold Tyler Robinson this morning. Court documents say that Robinson has no prior misdemeanor or felony convictions. We reported earlier that Robinson is being held on several initial charges, including aggravated murder, felony charges of a firearm, and obstruction of justice, but has not yet been formally charged. Authorities have taken the suspect in the Charlie Kirk's killing, Tyler Robinson, into custody. They announced this morning. With that, they offered major details on how the search unfolded and how they gathered evidence. So since Wednesday, when we got the news, so before I got on, we got the news that Charlie Kirk had died. Before I was going to hit at 4:00 Central Time, he was still in the hospital, or he didn't give out any information. So by the time we hit, he had unfortunately passed away. So at that time, I decided to focus on his wife and children and how that could be just beyond devastating for a wife to lose her husband and kids lose their father. And the other stuff I didn't want to get into at the time but I did say, you mark my word, did the precursor this past Wednesday, I said that before I leave this microphone or after, during or after, somebody from the right is going to pin this on the liberal left and shit like that. And they did. Case in point, Jesse Waters, who was political commentator and news host for Fox News, wanted to declare war after Charlie Kirk's murder. Now, when he said it in the timeline, it was no more than maybe a couple of hours after Charlie Kirk was pronounced dead that he wants war on the liberals because it was the liberals' fault, which is a fucking lie. I see, this is where people start shit for no reason. And they started because their rhetoric and their lies become true to them. Nothing to do with politics. Nothing. But at the time, we did not know who Tyler Robinson was. The shooter was still at large. We didn't know anything about did or did not like Charlie Kirk. We didn't know anything at that time. No, nothing until now. But during that time, no manifesto, no shooter, no nothing. We now have it, but back then we did not. He wanted to declare war on Democrats and liberals. And then Representative Nancy Mace of South Carolina Republican said that the Charlie Kirk's murder, Democrats should own this. Let me repeat again for the cheap seats. Representative Nancy Mace of South Carolina, the Charlie Kirk murder, Democrats should own this. Own what? The president himself said that the leftists are responsible for his death, which is ludicrous. It's insane. And you want to start a civil war. You want to. As a matter of fact, the term civil war on social media went from being used 18,000 times a day to 129,000 times a day. And then by yesterday, it increased to 210,000 times a day. The words civil war on social media. Jesse Waters, again, the idiot commentator from Fox News. Okay, I'll fuck with you for a little bit. Say this civil war starts. Since you want a war so goddamn bad, will you be boots on the ground when this happens? Will you be there in the streets fighting for conservatives and Trumpites and MAGA people? Will you be on the ground? No, you will not. Why? Because your ass will be in an apartment somewhere, high rise in New York. That's where you'll be. You want to incite rioting and things of that nature. Hey, this is my daughter Brianna. I'm calling to gossip and hear you on your show. Well, thank you. This is my oldest daughter Brianna. How you doing? She's here to gossip and to hear Pappy on the show. So I thank you for that. I saw you called earlier, so I'm glad you came through the show. Thank you. I had to call you back hours after the show was over with. He served in the military and as a New Jersey elected official and do a lot of more stuff. I know his credentials went up because we talked about this before last time he was on. Please welcome back to BaseLine, George L. Cook III. How you doing, George?
Hey, what's up, Mr. Base? How you doing on this fine Friday afternoon?
Man, I cannot call it, man. Good to see you. So before we get started, what are the credentials that you have posted on social media about your life?
Oh, I also serve on a local community college board, Union County College Foundation. We raise money to help students attend college, which they don't have to pay back. And I'm also the program chair on that. And I also sit on the Hillside Scholarship Fund to help out with that. Those are two of the other things I actually sit, and a recreation committee here in town. Those are other things that I do.
Man, I'm glad to hear. I'm glad that you're doing things and helping people. That's what it's all about. The floor is yours, sir. Go right ahead.
What else are we going to talk about? But the Charlie Kirk situation, and I put up a video. I got a lot of heat from it too. Like I said, this no one should ever be shot or killed. First thing I said in the video was, no one should be shot or killed for their political beliefs. So don't come at me with that bullshit. That's the first thing I said in the video because I know that's what they were going to cling to.
Right.
And but I was amazed at how many people, white people that you would think were allies, really rocked with this guy. They really were cool with Charlie Kirk and didn't understand why we were upset. Let's be clear. I don't care what your political stripes is, who you are. If you can't admit that Charlie Kirk was a racist, then you're not a serious person. He committed one of the greatest grifts ever as a college dropout. He used race and hate to build a company that made $92 million a year. And he did it because this is a message apparently a lot of people wanted to hear. I mean, a man that talked negatively about MLK said the civil rights bill was a mistake. Said if he saw a black pilot on a plane, he would think it was DEI, that black women can't get jobs unless it's DEI and they don't have processing power. He talked badly about, I'm not going to see what he said about George Floyd. He blamed gangs for everything, even mass shootings. And what's funny is that he also said that the price of the Second Amendment is some people are going to have to die. And it's ironic that that's how he went. And he was talking about gang violence at the time he got shot.
Sure did.
And also the other thing they fired back at me is that don't you care about his wife and his kids? Yeah, I do, but if you're being honest, he didn't. Because what's the number one cause of death for children? Guns. And isn't it the same man that said we're going to have to lose some lives to keep our Second Amendment rights? So indirectly, he didn't care about his own children. So like I said, I'm not happy anybody's dead, but I'm not going to shed any tears for Charlie Kirk. He's not a hero. Let's not deify this man. He's not on up there with Malcolm X. He's not up there with MLK. He's not even up there with Al Sharpton, if you ask me. This guy was a complete grifter. And God bless him what he did. He was making $92 million a year. But his rhetoric, his hate caught up with him. You live by the gun, you die by the gun. So, like I said, and it was funny. That's my most watched video that I ever made. Ever made. Over 75,000 views as we speak. So I'm like, I didn't expect that reaction because I figured so many other people were making videos about Charlie Kirk. But the one thing we got to make sure we do is not to make this man a hero. Because if we don't say anything now, 10, 15 years now, they're going to have this man's picture up there next to MLK, next to Kennedy and all that, like he actually did something when all he did was spread hate and make money from it. And as far as Trump goes, he had a chance Wednesday night turn the rhetoric down. He couldn't help himself. Somehow he still wound up blaming the left for this when he could have just said nobody do this at all. And also we know there's a lot of hate because how did HBCUs get in it? Yesterday, 7 HBCUs received terroristic threats. Mind you, they're all in the South. And as far as I know, Utah's not in the South.
Right.
In Utah, 98% of the people, well, only 2% of the people there are black. And if you count Utah's football team and basketball team, that's 1.9%, and the Karl Malone's family is the other 1%. So how you gonna blame black people for something that happened in Utah and black college students? They had to get locked down and closed for the day. And now that they found out who the shooter is, has anybody done anything for those colleges? When colleges were threatened in 22 under Joe Biden personally called for the FBI to investigate that. Has the Orange Man done that yet? Has he called for anybody to check into those threats to HBCU? So when people say they're not hateful, that the Charlie Kirk supporters are not racist, what do you call calling an HBCU and threatening? And I also want to close when Charlie Kirk was spitting his hateful rhetoric, that was free speech. But when we say he was a racist, all of a sudden we can't say that. People are losing their jobs, being ostracized for saying that this man that was obviously a racist was a racist. This whole world is going crazy right now. And I didn't realize Charlie Kirk was a hero to so many. I thought he was a hero to the podcast boys, like the Joe Rogan fans, whatever. I didn't know he was a hero to so many. And I'm gonna stop ranting and end it there.
No, you're right. I didn't ever heard of him at all until the unfortunate shooting, and then he got killed, and the murder, the whole thing. I never heard of him at all, and I don't follow conservatism like I want to. I stopped. Honestly, I can't take the rhetoric. I got into talk radio because it's still right to this day. Talk radio is listened to majority conservative white males. That's what all used to play to. And say with conservative talk TV. So for me, someone like him who's a college dropout, that reminds me of Rush Limbaugh when he was alive. He was a college dropout and was able to find that rhetoric to make money off of. And when you spew things like, and once again, I came up in radio, talk radio, got to WLS here in Chicago in the mid-90s. So when Rush Limbaugh became popular and was a moneymaker from coast to coast, when he first started, he was on tape delay. He was not even live yet. But then he started to pick up his audience, and the shares started to get bigger and bigger coast to coast. And then he became a star in the conservative movement. And he had this line, when you have these liners in between the shows, don't think, I'll do your thinking for you. And I'm like, dude, that's you may look at his tongue-in-cheek and funny. No, that's subliminal. He did it all the time. And then when he never had people disagree with him on the show. That's why it was tailor-made for him, because the producers were able to cut out the people or weed the people out that disagree with him. The one thing I respected Sean Hannity for, I never liked Sean Hannity, but I give him respect the fact that because he started to start through Limbaugh. He used to fill in for Limbaugh on a national radio show, and then he got his own show. When he filled in for Limbaugh, at least he let the opposition call in, and they would go back and forth. So I got to give him credit for that, because most people, again, like Limbaugh, other conservative hosts, design it, and now we're facing the podcasting where there's nobody to talk to. Now, Kirk did go out and meet the opposition and go head-to-head with that. There's a couple of viral videos I saw where somebody checked his ass completely. It got wrong and everything. But saying what you said before about spewing out all this hatred and just violence and just racism. And so he says the things that a lot of people behind the scenes want to say but can't. And he's been doing that for years and making money off of it. But you're right. I thought it was ironic that he got shot talking about gun violence. And you know what? You saw the tape, and most people did. And I'm going to put my conspiracy aluminum foil hat on my head. There's a guy behind him who, when Charlie Kirk was alive, filming him like this with the phone, there's a white cap on and kind of like moves his brim. 2 seconds, he gets shot. Now, that could have been the high sign.
Yeah, that could have been the go sign. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That could have. And I'm just shocked. From the jump, I thought it was a professional sniper, somebody in the military. To see who they arrested, I was shocked. I'm like, This is the kid that eluded police for a day and some change. Mm-hmm. And let's just say Patel, the director of the FBI, is an idiot. They look like the Keystone Cops handling this. You got the first two people wasn't them. You arrested an old man who couldn't keep his pants up. You thought that's the man that made the shot and killed Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
It was a complete Keystone Cops fiasco. And they want to make it seem like they did something. No, his father saw the pictures and told him to turn himself in. So they want to make it seem like they solved this crime. Those idiots didn't do in any such things. So let's not give them any credit. And like I said, I'm in
Oh man. That's like the governor of Utah when they made a comment. We got him.
You got him.
Okay, like, but he turned himself in.
You didn't get him. His daddy was like, "Nah, you got to turn yourself in." Then called the youth pastor, who called him, and then it still wasn't FBI. It was the U.S. Marshals that went and snatched him up.
Yeah, I mean, his own family knocked on him.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
If they knocked on him and told him to turn his ass in, what do you mean we got him? It reminded me of, remember that show Cops used to come on back in the day? You seen the show Cops back in the day?
Yes.
So there's a sequence where these cops were tracing this perp, and you saw it through the dash cam, right? So they had the dash cam view. These 4 cops are chasing the one in the first window, the first guy, then 3 behind them. This older cop had to be in his 60s with a gimp, and he's limping like this, at the behind the situation. And so when they finally get the perp, the guy, the first cop who got the perp in the handcuff, looked at the dash cam. Well, I got him. That's what he said, to make sure he got the arrest on the tag. I got him. Old cop. Yeah, we got him. I mean, dude, you ain't got nothing. You got a gimp. You can barely, walk 2 feet, but 2 miles, everybody see you. You want to take credit for something else. So it kind of reminds me of that. Yeah, we got him. I'm like, yeah, man, come on, get out of here with that crap, man.
It reminds me of like a sci-fi action movie where the heroes go in and win the battle, and then everybody in the control room jumps up in chairs and says, "Yeah, we did it." I'm like, "What's this we?" That's what that reminds me. What's this we? All you did was stand there and push buttons and say, "Watch out."
Right. Oh man, let's go to the comment section. We get some stuff here. All right, Jed, George, what do you say? The third is speaking the truth. We need a Charlie Kirk gun ban bill. Watch Republicans vote against it. And you said earlier in the conversation, George, they've already made him a martyr.
Yeah,
they've already made him to the pedestal of praise and our hero and our God and stuff like that. And they've already done that. And so, going back to what that idiot Jesse Waters did on Fox News, trying to declare war in the streets and going to try to create a civil war, again, you're going to say, this is what Charlie would have done. Lies. And the fact, again, that these people buy into these lies amazes me, because you would think that certain people, I don't know about that, would go on and check for themselves or go do individual investigations or go ask other people and see what's going on. But once again, if your brain and somebody's telling you, I'll think for you, you can be led to anything.
I think the only reason we haven't seen more violence when it comes to Jesse Waters is because when you look at him, I think people have enough common sense to say, "Oh, this guy ain't getting out there and do nothing." Jesse Waters looks like a punk. He wants to incite things, and he'll say charge and suddenly drop to the back where all you fools run up there and become cannon fodder. But and I'm surprised he still has a job.
Yeah.
For you to go on there and basically call for, and that's what he did. He called for violence. That's to be honest. You had other people on social media. They were literally crying in tears. You might have mentioned they want Nancy Mace has a bill where he can lie in state.
That's what I'll talk about that. Yeah, Nancy Mace. I mean that.
They flew him back on Air Force 2. I'm like, who is this guy? He was a huckster. He was a shyster. He was a grifter. That's who he was. Yeah. He's not worthy of all his attention. I was shocked how many people. People were really upset, and I was shocked at some of the people that were really upset. And they don't understand why we're not going to give him that credit. Well, why are you calling him a racist? Because he was racist. Because like you said earlier, when somebody really got in his ass, he couldn't come back at him at the debates. When somebody knew what they were talking about and were able to squash his BS stats, he would stutter. That's when you know he would start stuttering. Because I didn't watch him a lot, but I started looking at him after his DEI comments about black pilots. So then, once you look at something, it starts to pop up more in your feed.
Yeah.
Like I said, I said, no, he didn't say that. Then you look up and he said it. I didn't realize he was as popular as he is. I'll be honest about that.
I had no idea.
I had no idea. I'm talking about from high school kids to soccer moms. It was like, so a lot of people we might consider allies may not be our allies.
Former Illinois Representative Joe Walsh was on MSNBC and knew Charlie Kirk since he was like 15, 16 years old, and said even back then he had the mind of a 34-year-old when it comes to politics. And he was saying he was light years ahead of his time. He helped him start the Turning Point USA movement. He was a mentor and father figure to Kim, meaning Kirk. But he did say, meaning Joe Walsh, when he started to buy into Trump's rhetoric, that's when they split. He said, I can't go with you on that one. I can't support you. And so, as he said on the program on MSNBC, it was like losing a son. So I get the humanistic of the whole thing, and the fact that he did not continue on to help him because of him siding with Trump and the whole Trumpites and the MAGA movement. Joe Walsh wasn't for that. But I think what certain conservatives don't understand is that you gave birth to a Donald Trump. You birthed this man. And so all of a sudden, Republicans over the years want to distance themselves from Trump. No. You look, for someone like myself, been in talk radio going on 31 years, I'm 30 years now. The rhetoric from the conservative right has always been, it's my way or the highway. And then the proverbial verbal knee on people's necks, way before George Floyd was murdered. Words do mean something. Words do matter. And so my thing is this: if you have all that, think about Trump. That Trump goes on and says, for example, if you're regulated by the FCC and your talk goes on radio, you can only say and do so much. You can't say certain words. Or go back to Rush Limbaugh. You use code or the way you say things like, in the urban community and those people and stuff like that, and using terms like feminazis, those terms are harmful. But it was Trump that came along that called these places shitholes and things like that. He just crossed the line that conservatism would not cross until Trump came along, and all of a sudden we're buddies. But come on, man. You had to take responsibility, but who wants to do that?
Well, they're scared to take responsibility. They're Dr. Frankenstein, like you said. They created this monster. Now they're scared of the monster.
Right.
You have all these senators in Congress, in the Senate, and they're terrified of this man.
Yeah.
They make policy based on not pissing him off.
Exactly. Yep.
They talked all this junk about the Epstein files. They had a vote in Congress. Not one Republican voted with it. Talked all this junk.
Yeah.
But nobody voted with it. So that lets you know that's all they're going to do is yap and talk. The primary season is coming.
Yeah.
And even if he can't beat them in the primary, he can make their life hell. And
There has
none
to
of
be
them
a
want to be
change.
part of it.
Yeah, you're right, George. There has to be a change in the primaries, and hopefully that would make a shift in the voting situation and try to get some blue in there when it comes between the Democrats versus Republicans. But I would rather have that, even though I'm not a big fan of Democrats these days either,
No.
because they don't have their act together. This whole book that comes out with Kamala Harris, 107 Days,
Ooh.
and she was talking about how working in the Biden administration wasn't all that, and that she had um, feverish back and forth with the Biden administration and her, and maybe it was a bad decision for Biden to run. So all this in-house fighting
Yeah.
that was going. Not saying you can't have it, but in the guise of a party is concerned, you got to get your act together, get on the same mission statement.
Yeah, you got to like she said, what she used the term recklessness for
Right,
him and his wife to
recklessness.
decide that they should run. And I was surprised at that. And I don't know how to feel about that, because if you felt that back then, I'm not. Did she have a right to say something? And did
Right,
she have a duty to say something? And I know she's mad because she never. I mean, in retrospect, did she really have a chance with 107 days? And she was saddled with many of Biden's staff because it was so quick when she got here. You're running for
yeah,
president, so she really didn't have a chance to build her own team, people that she was used to working with. She had to work with some people who quite they didn't like her. They didn't like her when
correct.
she was VP. So I don't think she had a chance. I was surprised for her to come out and say this, because what she did say, because I hope she doesn't plan for running the president again. They're gonna hold that against her. They're gonna hold
Correct.
this book against her, which I'm going to read, because I do believe there's some stuff in there that I can't wait to get to.
Oh
But I
yeah.
was shocked they let that's the excerpt they chose to release. I don't know if she had
Oh
the
yeah.
authority to sign off on it or not.
She did speak to President Biden, as
Mm,
I was told when I was watching The View and some other programs, that she
mm.
did check with President Biden to let him know about the extras that were coming out. So she
Okay.
did tell him. So she got authority on that. But still, look, when you look at any type of organization, you're not going to see eye to eye. You're going to butt heads and things like that. That happens. But because the Democratic Party is so much in shambles, it's not really on the same page. I think you have old versus young, certain philosophies versus new philosophies, and it's just not coming together. If everybody wants to do their thing, you might have some rugged individualists like AOC there out in New York, and Bernie Sanders and Hakeem Jeffries. So you do see people that you can gravitate towards, but as the party as a whole, they're just not together.
Yeah, I think that one of the problems with the Democratic Party is what's good. What makes it good is what makes it bad. It's a Big Ten party, which means you get everybody. You get somebody whose issue may be Gaza. Somebody else, they don't care about Gaza. All they care about is LGBTQ issues. Somebody else only
Right.
cares about. And the thing is, Democrats are becoming, in my opinion, one issue voters. Or that's the most important issue to them, and that's what killed Kamala. Even when I made my a post this week, somebody was still mentioning Gaza. Or when I made it, I posted about the threats to the HBCUs, and somebody was still mentioning, oh, you mean the school that it gives money to Israel? I said, forget Israel. What about the black students that go to that school that were threatened? But
Mm-hmm.
some people are still stuck on that one issue, and I think that's the problem with there's nobody they don't have enough issues. You think they would, but they
Yeah.
don't have enough issues to unify them at least to a certain goal. Let's protect Medicaid. Let's protect jobs. There should be two or three things they can all agree in, and then work toward that, and work out the rest later. But right now, it seems too many people are have their own interests, and if their own interest is not met, they won't vote, or worse yet, they'll vote for the other person.
Sad but true. Spot on, George, as always. George O. Cook III. More information about you, where can they find you at, sir?
You'll find me on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Twit X, Fanbase, all at George Cook at aareports.com or George Cook at africanreports.com. And did you check out Alien Earth yet?
No, I have not. No.
Oh,
Man, you
yeah.
got to remind me, Doc. I got so much on my plate, I keep forgetting. If I
Well,
don't write it down.
did you like the first two Alien movies? I don't count anything
Yes.
after that.
The first one, yes, I did like the first two, yes.
If you if you don't watch nothing else but episode 5,
Mm-hmm.
it's a mini Alien movie. It's like
Get out. Okay.
it's a complete standalone episode,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like if you gave a TV director a budget and said, "Here, make a mini movie," and
Man,
many have
okay.
said if it was the Alien movie, it would be arguably the second best movie or the third best movie, depending on how you feel. But it plays complete
Mm.
homage to the first two movies, and like if you don't see any other episode, You got to see that one. If you like sci-fi, if you like aliens,
Yes.
that episode. I mean, if it's not nominated for Emmys, that's going to be crazy. That's how good it is.
Look, do me a solid, man. We got break company or part company, but do me a favor. Go to my messenger. Please just type in real quick about Alien Earth. That way I can remind myself. I can footnote it and pin it, and that'll remind me to see it as soon as possible. So I take your word for it. You have good taste, Doc. So I'm gonna take your word for it.
All right. You have a great weekend. Take care and God bless.
All right, same to you, brother. Take care. Thanks as always. George O. Cook III joins us every second, and fourth. I say Saturday. I think I'm back on Saturday. Damn it! As I get old, second and fourth Fridays here on BaseLine. Yeah, Alien, I gotta check that out. I remember you talking about that before. The last time he was on, so I gotta check that out. Yeah, I'm a sci-fi buff, so definitely want to see that. Alien Earth. I gotta remind myself of that. Okay. As we go back here to the comment section. Let's see. Is George on TikTok? I don't know, Diane. He didn't mention that. Maybe you could check. So Jed typed episode 5. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so George says, yes, I am. So yes. He answered, he just typed it right now. So Diane, yes. George L. Cook III is on TikTok. Let's see. What else we got here? Today's press conference was embarrassing to watch. George, I agree with you. This is part of the conversation we had earlier just with George. The whole thing is going to erupt, and I hate to be the soothsayer of bad news, into some form of a civil war. I said this way before the assassination of Charlie Kirk, the way and the rate the country is going. If I didn't know any better, that the president in office wants that to happen. I think he wants, and I said this before, I think he wants both a civil war and a world war simultaneously. I believe his job as an agent of destruction is to destroy everything, to slaughter everything that gets in his way. And that's why I believe once again, I tell you, everything with him is personal. He literally inserts himself into everything that's going on in this country. There is no reason, I don't give a good goddamn, there is no reason to insert yourself as the new president of the Kennedy Honors Association, Kennedy Honors, and then is going to host the Kennedy Honors Award show in December. Because he still thinks he's on television. I mean, from the standpoint of, this is not reality as we know it. He's a reality show president. It's a reality that they whisper into his ear. Whoever is the current Trump whisperer, whoever he or she is, or probably, of course, more than one voice, telling him, oh, no, this is what's going on in Washington, D.C. This is what's going on in Chicago. Now they're going to talk about moving the troops, the National Guard, to Memphis. It just gets strange and strange, or stranger and stranger. Stranger danger, as we were told we were children. Most of the cabinet members are incompetent nincompoops. They're all right. Thank you, Diane. Barbara Jean, I'm sorry. Yeah, they're right. They are nincompoops. They're stupid. And again, the way they look, you would believe that they were actors and actresses on these horrid, bad reality shows, which they are. Hey, what's up? It says Base Greer. What's up, man? Dr. Al Greer, to be precise. How you doing, brother? Thank you for being here as always. Get a chance to check out his show, Bedtime Stories. What's up, Cannon? That's Walter Cannon. Says Base, how you doing? Thank you for being here as well. Let's see. This was early before I was getting. Let's see. What do you say, Jed? If people haven't seen South Park episode 1, oh man, I saw that and fell out. I couldn't take it. Come on, guy. I'll sue you. I'll sue all of you. Oh man, they got into bed with Satan. Spoiler alert, I'm sorry, because they showed the excerpts on viral videos, and I was like, I saw like half of it. Someone actually put not on like a few minutes, but it was like a good 19, 20 minutes. It was damn near the whole show. It was hilarious. Took off his pants, took off his clothes, got into bed with Satan. Satan. Ooh wee, yeah, and of course, being thin-skinned as Trump is, and now the Trump administration, they were coming after South Park saying that they were untalented or some crap like that. I mean, come on, man. Everybody, every president and public figure has been parodied on that show since it's been on. Everybody, but you're the one that's gonna come forward and say it's not funny. Of course, it's funny. It's probably closer to the truth than they are, means to let on. That's probably why it's so damning to them, because it's truthful. Let's see. Let's go back to comment section. So this was Diane typed earlier. Brownie Green, of course, my daughter. You should call in and gossip. And Brownie typed Diane Hawkins. Oh no, I'm shy, and my voice sounds like Stitch. LOL. First of all, my oldest is not shy. Far from it. No, she is not shy at all. And your voice does not sound like Stitch at all. Maybe Lilo, but not Stitch. No. And so, yeah, okay, we got that part earlier. Okay, we got that. Trying to go over some of these comments I get a chance to earlier. So if I miss it, forgive me. Let's see. How you doing, Lydia? Assassination. He's not King or JFK. No, you're right. Lydia, you are right. But the right has already exalted this man into martyr status, into martyr status. That's what he is to them. And they, meaning the conservative right, have already waged war and the president against Democrats and liberals, saying it was Democrats and liberals' fault that Charlie Kirk got shot. Now, again, in any walk of life, you have fanatics. Not only sports, but all walks of life. So you put this bee in their bonnet, you put this gas in their tank, they're going to run with it. So now all public speakers, all politicians need to amp up their security. Remember the politician got shot in Minnesota recently? He didn't have an empathy for them, meaning the president. But yet this guy gets flags at half staff. Trump will speak at his funeral coming up, I believe it's Sunday. What makes this man so fucking great? But once again, I did not know from can of paint. Did not. And the power he wields to, he was 31 when he got killed, and for him to be in I believe it was the Trump transitional team, to be a part of that, to give experience, and then where do you get the hell experience about being a part of a transition team? But it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. And either side should not be trying to start a civil war in this country, if not already. Senator Chuck Schumer and Representative Hakeem Jeffries offered a response to President Trump, blaming the left after the killing of Charlie Cook. Schumer said, we should be coming together, and coming together is what we ought to be doing, not pointing fingers of blame. And Jeffrey has been quoted to say, political violence in any form against any American is unacceptable, should be denounced by everyone, and moving forward, we have to figure out a better way to come together, not as Democrats or Republicans, but as Americans. Both men are right. They're absolutely correct in their assessment. This is not the way to do it. From the standpoint of other people getting killed and shot, or maybe shot at, what amazed me was going back to what conversation I had with George about this, going back to Tyler Robinson, the shooter that they have in custody. One man, one kill shot. And other people who were unfortunately died by the bullet, like Lydia had typed about King, JFK, his brother Bobby Kennedy, Malcolm X, Medgar Evers. Yet Trump survived two, not one, ladies and gentlemen, but two assassination attempts. He survived. Out of all these people that I've mentioned, he's the only one that survived two assassination attempts. Okay, all right. I'll just drop that and let you figure out for yourself. I call bullshit on that. Two assassination attempts. All right. Absolutely amazing. Of course, we're into Free Your Mind Friday, so it could be about what I'm talking about, what we're talking about here, with this more information about the shooting. Charlie Kirk, Tyler Robinson is now in custody. He's a lone shooter. You're talking about anything else, but it seems the main topic right now. 312-597-2106. Again, 312-597-2106. Instagram, I am the Base. The YouTube channel, the Chris Base channel with a period at the end of channel right there on YouTube. Subscribe, like, and share. Also on Facebook Live. And if you are so bold and daring, ask for the link. I put the link in the comment section. You come on through. Or you stay in the comment section there, of course, in the peanut gallery, and continue to type. So whatever you want to talk about. So again, not just this topic, but other topic. You know how I should tell you by now. You know how this operates. Oh man. Going back to the whole thing with Kamala Harris and her book coming out. So as we know, when you do these book tours, when you're hawking your book, you have to get some sort of quotes or reason, of course, for people to buy said book in the first place. So you had these titillating conversations that have been told, whatever these tell-all books we want to call them, and give the people a reason to buy the book. Like George said, you're going to buy it. I'm thinking about buying it myself. Only because of the fact that it does make sense to have a disarray because the party itself is in disarray, going back to the Democrats. And I stated before in this program, if the Democrats realized the year going into it that President Biden was not going to be a viable choice, they should have got something done earlier, not within a short amount of time, not take him out and then put in Kamala Harris. Don't get me wrong. It would have been an upset of any political historical fact, but it was not meant to be. I think the powers that be, whoever they are, will not, and I repeat, will not have a woman to become president. I was surprised Barack won. But times were a-changing, and we got Barack for those 8 years. But a female president, you go back to Hillary Rodham Clinton, Geraldine Ferraro, Shirley Chisholm, and probably some of the candidates that I'm familiar with that went back probably to the 1800s or so. We don't know. Let's see. This man had the nerve to send my son emails since my son was 19. He was trying to brainwash young black people. All he did was make my son mad. However, I am slammed. I am alarmed. I'm sorry that some young black people have drunk the Kool-Aid. Lydia type. Thank you for sharing that, Lydia. I didn't know that. Well, yeah. Well, that's why I believe he was going to these colleges, going back to Charlie Kirk, to try to help, quote unquote, shape and mold young minds of America. Well, young people are very impressionable, obviously, about college people, and can try to sway that way of thinking because of what he was spewing out. And like you said before in the text and the type we just typed here, since he was 19 years old, yeah, of course, that's the age. That's why I believe these so-called youth Republican movement was galvanized or helped galvanize by Kirk by making these barnstorm appearances in these various colleges. And you had other college students who were challenging him. In fact, they interviewed the student who was challenging him before he got shot. They interviewed him once on MSNBC and visibly shaken, obviously, and was out of sorts. And when he, meaning Kirk, made the statement about gang violence and gang banging stuff like that, yeah. Yes, Kirk sent it, Lydia typed. Yeah, absolutely. If that's your target audience, the young people, especially college age, that's what he did. And it seemed to work because a lot of those young people signed on. That's what happened. And it worked. Well, I'm telling you. Matthew Dowd broke his silence 2 days following his MSNBC firing after comments about the conservative activist Charlie Kirk. The right-wing media mob ginned up, went after me with a plethora of platforms, and MSNBC reacted to that mob, Dowd, 64, said in a statement posted to his Substack on Friday. Even though most at MSNBC knew my words were being misconstrued, the timing of my words forgotten. Remember, I said this before anyone knew Kirk was a target, that I apologized for any miscommunication on my part. I was terminated by the end of the day. Dowd wrote that he still is getting over the shell shock of the past few days and is looking forward to adventures and to journeying ahead following his firing. A big part of that will be using my voice and other platforms to advocate for finding ways to unite our country around a common sense vision of ideals and values. He continued, it starts with me and all of us looking at each other and out into the world with new eyes, a journey into the unknown that will be fulfilled with mystery and many ups and downs. But reimagining a new America starts with new eyes, leads to a new language, and will involve building new institutions and reforming many that no longer fit us. Noting that he is feeling down but a bit disheartened in this moment, Dowd added, I still have hope and faith in the majority of Americans who want and hunger for the same things I do. We can do this. Well, he's right. They bow down to the pressure of conservatism and Trump, and the man got fired. And I was reading what Matthew Dowd had said. I don't think it was grounds to be fired. And I'm paraphrasing what Matthew Dowd has said. I always like looking forward to his work on MSNBC, but he's not there anymore, obviously. But when he was on there, very thought provoking, made you think, and just precise, precision with his words. And he had mentioned just about the sympathy of the whole thing from once again a human point of view about Kirk, but then talked about what you put out there, it can come back to hurt you. I'm just paraphrasing the statement. And I'm like, well, that's not on the grounds for firing. Maybe I must have missed something, but from what I read, it didn't look like the grounds for firing unless somebody made a phone call to the high muckety mucks at MSNBC over there and decided to pull the plug on Matthew Dowd. Nowadays, freedom of speech, you have to pay for it in some way, shape, or form. And that's bothersome, to say the very least, especially at people out here who continue to fan the flames of racism. Continue. Like, Fox News host Jesse Waters, like Representative Nancy Mace of South Carolina, like the president himself, having no evidence whatsoever. Uh, Part of what I was reading about Tyler Robinson was that he did not like Charlie Kirk, again being a lone shooter, but still, I decided the party, whether you're Democrat or Republican, this should not be a political statement or standpoint of blaming the other. Now, I do believe what you put out there in the universe can come back to bite you tenfold. I do believe that. And he even said to himself about the Second Amendment about some people need to die for the Second Amendment to live. Again, paraphrasing. And once again, as we know, he's talking about gun violence. He's gets taken out with one shot. So it's not the easiest thing to separate the rhetoric, the man, from his personal life. But again, like George said, that was very profound. That if you talk about gun violence and children with guns, and you got two children yourself, do you really care? I was like, yeah, that makes sense. So what can I say? Let's see. Got some bad news today when I was looking online. As soon as I find it here, I can share it with you. Let's see. Okay. That's not it. Give me 1 second. Hold on, I gotta do this real quick. Okay, here we go. That should do it. The Museum of Broadcast Communications sadly announces the passing of its founder and longtime broadcaster Bruce Dumont, who passed away last night at the age of 81. Without Bruce's perseverance in collecting and preserving Chicago television and radio history, there would be no institution like ours today. Bruce Dumont's career spanned decades and multiple platforms. He produced and appeared on programs such as Noon Break with Lee Phillip, Chicago Tonight, and Extension 720, and became a respected voice in Chicago media. He was also the creator and longtime host of Beyond the Beltway, the nationally syndicated political talk program that gave listeners across the country a unique, independent perspective on current affairs. In 1982, he launched the Museum of Broadcast Communications, which has since grown into our nation's or one of the nation's leading archives dedicated to preserving and interpreting the history of radio and television. Bruce Dumont's dedication to preserving our broadcast heritage gave Chicago and the nation an individual culture resource, said David Peeler, or Plyler, chairman and interim president and CEO of the museum. We extend our condolences to his family and friends, and we honor his extraordinary contribution to media history. Let's see. Go back to here. Jesus, don't know the hour, the second, day, nor time. Perhaps next week. He's being Walter referring to Pastor Donovan Price. So as you know, he's doing the work, and when he comes on, he comes on. He doesn't, he doesn't, and we'll see what happens next week. But you know what Donovan does, so we hope that he's okay. I know it's online a few times. He asked people to pray for him, and once again, I don't know how he does it. Getting back to the passing of Bruce Dumont, some of you may not know of him, but if you follow talk radio, you do. If you know history of broadcasting, there used to be a television network back in the 50s called the Dumont television network, television, and he was part of the DuMont family. And then, as I gave his background here, the shows he produced here in Chicago, and was the founder of the Museum of Broadcast Communications, I got a chance to know him over the years. I met him at WLS, and I remember one year at the museum, they did a special, and the special was to meet and greet uh, Chicago television children programming stars. So they had on the panel people like Ray Rayner, remember from WGN in the mornings. They had him, uh, Joey Diaria, who was the man who succeeded Bob Bell in playing Bozo. One of my personal heroes, Bill Jackson, Giggle Snort Hotel, the BJ Dirty Dragon Show, Cartoon Town, something like that. Yeah, he was, and that was part of the panel, and some other luminaries of the time that had come back for a special meet and greet and autographs and pictures and things like that. And I remember my wife and I went, and my wife Vicky and myself were in line, and Bruce happens to walk past us, and I said, Bruce, hey Chris, how you doing? I said, Bruce is my wife Vicky, and they exchange, handshakes and everything else. I shook hands for him. He's like, what are you doing? I said, well, how long you been in line? I said, I don't know, a good 30, 40 minutes or so. Come with me. And so Vic and I went with him into the room with all these people I just mentioned, and we got a chance to meet them a half hour before the public was let into the building. That was nice. That was nice. I didn't expect that at all, but yeah, Bruce did that. And we were right there with Bill Jackson and Ray Rayner just talking for a good half an hour, good 30 minutes until the public got in and we got our autographs and everything else, and then we were able to leave. But we just had that time with them, and that was through Bruce Dumont. Bruce was a very, very nice guy, very cool dude. Let's see. Walter Tice Dumont was truly a class act, well respected. Yeah. Oh man, I remember one time Bruce came by, and this is when Jay Marvin was doing the show at night. So it was Jay Marvin, Terry Hemmert from WXRT, and Bruce Dumont, and the three of them was lights out. Terry Hemmert, who's not known at the time for doing talk radio, had a lot of opinions about the topics of the day, and she and Bruce were going back and forth. I mean, toe for toe. And of course, Jay would jump in, but man, they were going at it, and it was just great radio when you have great people like that. And sitting here reminiscing, two out of three people I just mentioned, Terry Hemmer's still with us, but now Bruce is gone. I talked to Bruce about, I want to say maybe sometime last year, because I looked online and he was going through some medical issues and wasn't feeling too well and was recovering. So I gave him a call and we were reminiscing and everything. I told him, I thanked him again for the time letting me and my wife in the museum to see all these great Chicago television heroes from the days of our youth back in the day. And he said, you're welcome. And we were talking. And I said, well, look, I'm doing the show CBI, Chris-based interviews. You'd be a perfect guest. And so I said, look, man, whenever you get better, please reach out to me. He said, as soon as I'll reach out to your son as I get better and everything else. And I was looking forward to it. But unfortunately, it will never happen. But Bruce would have been a fantastic guest. The history he has, and of course, the founder, coming from the Dumont Television Foundation, from that alone, I want to ask him, where does he fit? I mean, was it his mother and father? Was it his uncles and aunts? I didn't get that deep into knowing Bruce about that, but I always wanted to talk to him about that. And I figured I'd wait to CBI at the time to ask him. And yeah, Beyond the Beltway was a great political show. My man Salim Muwakil became a recurring guest on there as well. And let's see. So before it was Beyond the Belt, it was called Inside Politics. That was the first name of it. And I believe, and once again, I talked to him about this, he probably had to change the name probably cease and desist because of copyright infringement because they had a show like that on CNN at the same time, but it wasn't related to each other. So eventually, I believe that was the cause of it, and then Bruce changed the name to Beyond the Beltway. But again, just a friendly man, and yeah, condolences to him and his family and friends. It's just, what can you say? But he was very cool to me. And speaking of other people that were cool, so I also saw online that Don Wade and Roma, Don Wade, they used to be on mornings back at WLS AM. Don is going to be posthumously inducted to the Radio Hall of Fame in the Legends category. And again, another person who deserves it. Yeah, I just think of my days back in LS. It was nice. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was a lot of heartache. But when the heartache was not there, it was fun to work for. It was fun to work with those people. The new management, the first management sucked wind. I was not a fan of Drew Hayes, who was the operations manager there. When you see every now and again in the comment section, Tom Treadle was the president general manager, and Drew Hayes was operations manager. I had a problem with Tom. I actually liked Tom, but it was Drew I couldn't stand. Drew was just a complete asshole to me and a lot of other people. As I told you the story before, when I got fired from LS, and just give me a moment. I know sometimes like, okay, here he goes again. When you work as a producer, and Walter, who worked in radio, can attest to this as well. When you work in radio as a producer, you're pretty much flexible. Unless you're just doing the most or whatever, you don't really get fired. You get fired in your own cognizance. But usually you're flexible. What I mean by that is when we were a part of the WLS FM talks format, it was supposed to be geared towards or skewing towards younger people because the loop at the time had skewed towards younger people, but they were breaking up because Steve and Gary, who were very popular, Steve Dahl, Gary Meyer, they had broken up. They had taken Kevin Matthews and took him off the AM and put him on the FM, and it was all in shambles. So I don't know whose bright idea it was. It was kind of a good idea to create WLS FM talks to get that younger talk demo into that station. So it used to be simulcast from the AM, so AM and FM simulcast, but they decided to split off into two separate stations. So Jay Marvin did afternoons. Who else was on there? Robert Murphy did mornings. He was from Q101. They still had Rush Limbaugh on, and I knew the reason why they had him on. It didn't really fit, but because of the money he was bringing in, he was the cash cow, so you can't get rid of that. Terry Ryder, who did evenings, and Johnny Vaughn did late nights. So that's the guy I worked with, Johnny Vaughn. And I worked for years. The only time I worked in radio, and I was actually full time when some of us were moved from the AM to the FM. So when the FM was about to be disbanded and broken up, Jay went from the FM back to the AM to his old shift at 10 p.m. The on-air challenge was taken off the air, obviously, because they're about to, simulcast again at the time, and they had their packages financially, and I was the only producer fired. So how come the other producers were left on, but I was not? And again, that's why I tell people it's always personal. It's always personal. I can't make it more plain than that. It is. So it's distance and time have a way of healing. You'll never forget it. I know I don't. But it has a way of healing. So it has healed, but it didn't make any sense in real time to get rid of me as a producer But again, it's personal. So I'm being let go of all the talent, and that was my first time getting fired. The first time always stings. It stings like a bitch. It does. But then after that, you get used to it because sometimes you see the signs. Sometimes, like I know I'm gonna get fired now. You could be into your third or fourth job working in radio. It comes to the territory, but the first one always stings. So I just remember that, and you go on from there and try to reinvent yourself or try to just latch on to somewhere else. But again, I always give credit to Mike Elder because he was my second boss back in LS, and Mike was the one that got me back in. He offered me the board position. I said, "Well, I really want to be a host on the radio," and he said, "I'll train you." And so I was working overnights on the board, and then Mike Elder trained me to be a talk host for 6 months straight, and I went on from there. And I say all that to say that no matter where you are in life, life has a way of surprising you, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. And I know some people in radio, everybody got war stories to tell. Everybody got war stories. Everybody got stories to prove what they're talking about. It's really the same, just different people. It's like, same shit, different flies, pretty much. That's what it is. But I wouldn't trade this for anything in the world. It's one of the things I wanted to do since I was 6 years old. That's a long, long time ago. Because to me, it's something magical, again, across the speaker. There had to be something beautiful coming out of that speaker. How does it tick? How does it work? How those voices come together and the music and the sound effects? It just entertains the mind, literally. So I wouldn't trade for anything in the world, just that all the bullshit that one goes through. God bless Bruce Dumont, a great man to in broadcasting. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And again, here's someone who came from a history from his family, and then to turn around and do it himself and have connect to that broadcasting world. Something else indeed. So yeah. So and then to read about Don Wade getting into the Hall of Fame there. I never forget. One year, we are trying to find at the popular toy, my wife and me, a sleep and snore Ernie. That was very popular then. And we were in the city, went to the suburbs, could not find this toy at all. At all. And you want to get what your children want for Christmas. You celebrate the holiday, and we just couldn't find it. We were flabbergasted, and we just said, "The hell with it." So I told you, I ran the board overnight, and always saw Don and Roma daily, every day. And so one time, Roma passed, and I must have been upset, must have been all over my face. And she asked me, "What's wrong?" I told her about the whole, we couldn't find the sleep, the snore, Ernie. And without missing the beat, "Oh, I got one." I said, "You do?" We were trying to find one like throughout the city and beyond. She said, "Don and I had to go to this auction to auction off toys for this benefit charity. They gave us two. I'll give you one and we'll just leave it at that." Oh my God. Brilliant. And I was really my loss for words. I lost for words that time. Man, I came home, told Vic, and we were just elated because we finally got it because the girls would share it. And I remember that Christmas party we went to, and the first thing Vic did was hug Roma and thanked her for that. Funny how life is, how it goes. It's always nice, as far as I'm concerned, when you're in an industry that you have love for, and then you meet people who are just nice, which, depending on your circle of people and family and friends, maybe it's kind of rare to find actual nice people. But that is beyond cool with me. That was nice. She had to do that. And I remember talking to Don years prior, and Don was telling me how he got started working in radio. I think his brother also was in radio as well. And because Don was a big dude, Don was like 6'4", about 6'4", 6'5". And we would talk and sometimes, and I remember he had mentioned about working at a jazz station. So at that time, I was working at WBEE and LS. So what I would do, my shift eventually went from 6 to midnight, from that to 6 to 8 p.m. Well, 6 to midnight, I would leave and then go to LS where my shift started at 1 o'clock at the time. And then it went to midnight. And then that's when I was working 6 to 8. I would go home, shower, change clothes, whatever, and then probably get a quick nap in if I was lucky, and then go to work at LS and start my shift at midnight. And I was working at BEE. So I worked at BEE, LS, and such forth. So it was fun. I decided to give up BEE because I was really wanting to get into talk. I told you I wanted to get into talk when I was 19. And I think I had the job at BEE when I was 22. So there you go with that. So yeah, I devoted my time to that. I eventually had to leave BEE to work at LS. Just devote that time to it. Let's see. So again, you know how to do this. You know how to connect and be a part of it, and just come on through. Be about anything you want to discuss, anything that's on your mind, anything that we can help you out with, anything. Ooh wee. Let's see here. Here's an interesting fact. Did you know that? Let's see. Make sure I got her name right. Hold on. Hold on. Make sure I got. I don't want to pronounce her name wrong. Hold on. Give me 1 second as it pops up here. Mindy Cohn. Okay, so Mindy Cohn used to be on The Facts of Life. Remember The Facts of Life? She on The Facts of Life. She sang on PYT, Michael Jackson's Pretty Young Thing. Don't believe me? Go Google it. I was today years old when I found out. I had no idea, and maybe I saw the liners before they made the connect. But yeah, Mindy Cohn from The Facts of Life. You take the good, you take the bad, you take the wrong. Yeah, the fact. Yeah, her with the pigtails and everything else, kind of heavy set. At the all girls school there, yes, she sung backup for Michael Jackson's PYT. Who would have thunk it? I think Kim Fields did as well. It was something bizarre you didn't think would happen, but hey, stranger things have happened. So there you go with that. Also interesting that I read about, because I love Charlotte Rae. I think Charlotte Rae was perfect as Mrs. Garrett, of course, as a spinoff from Different Strokes. Because remember, she was the housemaid for Different Strokes, then went on to do Facts of Life. I believe it was Charlotte Rae that recommended Cloris Leachman to succeed her in the role of house mother there at the school. I think she had something that happened. I mean, she had medical issues as well, but because I remember Cloris Leachman took over. I love Cloris Leachman, but it wasn't a good fit. And then they always bring in a kid when the kid's not wanted. I mean, damn this kid. I mean, I know they do it for trying to get the children demo back, but remember, what was that? The Brady Bunch. And the kids getting older, obviously, they weren't cute anymore. They're becoming teenagers, for God's sakes. And so they brought in Oliver. Remember Oliver? I'm a jinx. Well, yeah, Negro, you don't belong here. One of these things is not like the others. Oh, I'm a jinx. First of all, you got a Mo Howard bowl haircut as a 7 and 6 year Howard hold. I don't know how he was. Got Coke bottle glasses. You just don't fit. Tomorrow he's a jinx. You're damn right, because you don't belong at all. You always heard the term "jump the shark." Yeah, that jumped the shark when they brought in Oliver. Yeah, I'm a jinx. Oh, shut up, man. So they did the same thing with Fresh Prince of Bel Air. Because remember, Aunt Viv got pregnant, and you bring in the boy and everything. I'm like, okay, see, here we go again. Same with the Facts of Life. So they brought in this kid. I don't know what relation he was to anybody on the show, and there was a very young George Clooney on there as well. Okay, so yeah, now y'all fish. Y'all just bringing everybody on the show just to try to save ratings, I guess. Well, and that's what happened. Do you want me to lose my job? Hell no. So that's what happened. Got all these different people coming on board. Oh, hell. Yep. So, yeah, but Mindy Cohn sings backup on PYT. Let's see here. I don't know. I thought it was strange to hear about that. But see, you never know. Oh, man, what's that song? Time Out of Mind by Steely Dan. If you go back and check out the people on that band in that performance on that song, was one of my personal favorites. So, of course, you have Steely Dan. Of course, it's their group. But the people they assembled in the studio, the same backup, Patty Austin, Michael McDonald, saxophone, David Sanborn, on guitar, Mark Knopfler. Mark Knopfler was the curator and founder of Dire Straits. Remember Money for Nothing and Your Checks for Free? Yeah, that was him. He played guitar on Time Out of Mind. Fantastic song. No wonder it was tight, because you have all these tight performers, singers and musicians. When you go back and watch and read, it literally like a who's who in the music industry, and just listen to the musicality of it. And no wonder it was tight, because you had all these top-notch performers. Let's see. So, what are some of your favorite songs as we got a few minutes left in the program, as we kick back and not do anything so serious? Name one song that you can hear over and over and over again. We'll start with one song and we'll build up from there. So type in or call in 312-597-2106. I am the Base on Instagram, of course, on the gram. The Chris Base channel, all one word, period, at the end of channel. You go through there, of course. Facebook Live. As I said before, to round out, back in the comment section in the Peanut Gallery, or you ask for the link and come on through that way. What's the one song you listen to over and over and over and over again and don't get tired of? I just mentioned it. Time Out of Mind by Steely Dan. I can listen to it. I listen to it every day if I'm cleaning around the house here, or just a chill life, but mostly cleaning around the house because I need something to keep me going. And I'll wash my dishes and mop and stuff like that. So yeah, I would go with Time Out of Mind by Steely Dan. I listen to that over and over again and don't get tired of it. So what's the one song that you like that you hear over and over again? Let's see. Hold on here. Let's see. I'm Still Here by the Notations. I never heard that song before. I never heard that. Okay. That's Omar types that. Barbara Jean as George Michael and Mary J. Blige. Never heard that one before too. Okay. That'll be my assignment. I gotta check those songs out. I've never heard those songs before. So you got those songs. So just to add a footnote to the question, what's the one song you hear over and over again? Why? What's the reason why you can hear it over and over again? Not just the song, but what does it do for you? Me, I said with Time Out of Mind, as I told you, the people that are a part of that song, and I've always knew it was a great song to me, but when I found out who was a part of the ensemble, it makes sense. Because individually I've heard them together. I said before earlier in the conversation, the first hour, when I mentioned about being a part of Cool Out Radio. I think we're all good, if not great. I think we're good as individuals, what we do with our content and programming, and then we come together. It's like a force to be reckoned with. Let's see. Omar Tice, the Notations is a Chicago soul music group. I'm being educated. I had no idea. Okay, cool. My great grandniece loves watching the video on YouTube. Okay, so again, why do you listen to those particular selection of music? What's the reasoning to it for it become your favorite song, or at least one of your favorites to hear over and over again? Or sometimes, like if you watch a movie and you've seen it before and you take a look at it, you may find something different. There's sometimes I listen to music and I'll probably hear something that I never heard before, and I heard it before, and then go from there. So again, why do you listen to these songs and repeatedly, and why is your favorite like that? And sometimes with music in particular, it hits different when you're of a certain age. So as I said before, my dad loved the blues. He loved B.B. King. The Thrill Is Gone is his signature tune that B.B. King was known for. And I'm watching my dad drink yak, whatever he was drinking. It wasn't Smirnoff, it was something else. But Smirnoff was his favorite vodka. Ugh, I tell you, I can't stand vodka. Ah, I ain't drinking. That was his thing. Smirnoff vodka. So he listened to the blues and yak and drink some yaka, or not yaka. That's probably something I invent. Here, have some yaka. No, some vodka and whatever else he was drinking at the time. Could be JB Scotch, but mostly it was Smirnoff vodka. This is the blues. And when I got older, I want to say my mid 30s, I heard the Thrill Is Gone and cried. Cause now I got it. Now those lyrics mean something. Now it spoke to me as a then mid 30s. I was blown away. Let's see. I'm still here because it's relaxing, and close your eyes and relax. You talking about much about the song? Okay. My mom's favorite song from Bobby Blue Bland is "Members Only." All right, cool. There you go. There's always that one song or songs that you really can gravitate towards. It should mean something. But yeah, I never forget that. The Thrill Is Gone, and I heard it with mid 30 years, age wise. Oh yeah, it hits differently. Absolutely. So, as I said, nothing wrong with embracing music as we all do. I always think of it as a form of time travel. You know me, I love time travel, love Doctor Who and stuff like that. And I think music does that for me. I can speak for anybody else, but I believe it does. As Will Smith once said, from Summertime, it sparks off nostalgia when it comes to music and things of that nature. Let's see, at Professor Base, I sent you the link to the YouTube video. Okay, thank you, Barbara Jean. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let me take a look at it. That's a song you mentioned about, the song As with George Michael and Mary J. Blige, correct? I think that's the one you mentioned. Okay, I'll definitely check it out. Thank you. So, any plans you got this weekend? We know me. I'll sit back and chill. I believe the Bears play on Sunday. I think they play Detroit. Let me take a look real quick. Yeah, the Bears got beat on Monday Night Football with the Vikings. I hope it ain't business as usual. I hope not. Yep, the Bears play the Lions September 14th, noon game. All right, bear down, my people. Bear down. Ben Johnson, the current coach of the Bears, goes back home to Detroit where he was offensive coordinator. Offensive coordinator. So he goes back home. Oh yeah, won the Bears' victory, obviously. They could have won Monday night, but that third quarter, it looked too good, man. Don't get me wrong. I like what Ben Johnson has done for the Bears to date. The offensive line was crap. They were able to keep the outside corners and then bring in new players in the middle, which I have not lost faith in them. It's only one game, but Brian Flores, who's the defensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings and former head coach of the Miami Dolphins, yeah, he put that defense on them. They got really quicker in that third quarter, which said a lot. But Caleb Williams, the quarterback of the Bears, remained majority upright. He was not on his ass a lot, which is great. So once again, only game one. Now, game two, I said before that would happen this Sunday when they go play the Lions. We'll see. We'll see. Now, see, now you're back home where your home was for a few seasons. You go up against your former boss, Dan Campbell, who's the coach of the Detroit Lions, and once going back to Ben Johnson, now being the coach of the Bears. I think it'll be a good game. I'm hoping the Bears will win. But some out there might feel differently. Chris, I brought the Jetsons complete cartoon series on DVD recently. Okay, cool. Yeah, as you know, MeTV has MeTV Tunes. That's airing from coast to coast. As a matter of fact, they just recently signed up MeTV Tunes with DirecTV because we had DirecTV here. So now you get a chance to check it out. Remember, I think it was a year or so ago, I was talking to Pastor about it. Pastor got it at the time, but for some reason in my area, while living in Bronzeville, before we moved, I couldn't get it. And if you did get it, it had the subscription service. And I'm like, I'm not paying no more for the subscription. I love cartoons. I don't love them that much. I ain't gonna sit there and pay for them from that perspective. But the network did join DirecTV, and they play the Jetsons. Now, what happens is they'll play the Jetsons. They had the original intro from the 1960 when it came out, but then sometimes in the middle they have the newer version of the Jetsons that came out. I want to say in the 80s, something like that, or it just wasn't the same cartoon. So they dupe you with the original intro, me's George Jetson, stuff like that. But then they'll have the newer version in the middle. It's kind of like a donut. You got the beginning, traditional beginning, when she takes the wall and shit like that there, and he gets to the office and pops his feet up on the desk. We got that. And then they show you not a Jetsons episode from the 60s. They'll pop in an 80s version, which is a whole different animation. It looks different, sounds different. It doesn't hit like the original. So, yeah, I got duped a few times. I just immediately changed the channel. Let's see. Cannon, Bears will lose against Detroit. Well, I'll say they win because he believes that the season's over with. He's going to tell me, meaning Walter is 5-11. That's going to be their count at the end of the season. Or 5-10, well, 5 and dime, whatever. I don't know. It's still early to tell. I'm not going to go out on a limb. We'll see. I'll take a wait to see it. I ain't gonna dump out because they lost one game. It's concerning, mind. Don't get me wrong. It's very concerning. Let's see. I got MeTV Tunes on my television set. Well, there you go. So you got that and the Jetsons DVD. Omar, good stuff. Jetsons, you're right. Cannon was ahead of his time. Absolutely. the wristwatch, watching TV. We do that, of course, with social media and everything else. Yeah, they were way ahead of their time. Really. You go back to a character named Dick Tracy. Dick Tracy had a transistor watch that he communicated to the precinct where he was detective at. And you see what the Apple watches and everything else. So yeah, same with the flip phone. The flip phone was from the idea of the Star Trek, the first Star Trek, with their communicator. So yeah, we benefited from that. Absolutely. All right. So yeah, I think the Bears will win on Sunday. I don't think they'll lose. I mean, but we'll see. We'll take a wait and see approach. Have a great weekend coming up. Do something fun, chillax, tell somebody you love them. It goes a long way. And do what you gotta do. We're gonna survive this. It's not gonna be easy. But we'll survive. As Gloria Gaynor said, but even though Gloria Gaynor is gonna be getting a Kennedy Award, and ironically, not ironically, do what she want to do with her money. She was supporting Republicans and conservatives, and I think she also had a contribution to Trump. So this could be real reward. I don't know. I told you with Trump's always personal. So I love Gloria Gaynor. She can do what she want to do with her money. It's her money. Like my man said from the commercial again, it's your money. Use how you need it. It's your money. Crap. Go ahead. But we'll get through this. It's just a lot. We just need to stick together. It's a lot to go through. It's very scary times. Down is up. Right is left. We're in a bizarro world, but we can pull through. We have to. We have to just stick together. That's all. And thank you for being a part of BaseLine. Of course, we congregate every Friday. You know the times. East Coast, 5 p.m. in the middle, right there in the central time. It's 4 p.m. West Coast, 2 p.m. Continue to be safe. Continue to be sound. Continue to be healthy. And most importantly, above anything else, continue to be loved. Long live the peace. Long live the funk. More power to you. And as always, imparting with all of you, as always, keep your head up.